All right, thanks everybody for joining us today. My name is Steve Santos. I'm the sales director here at Best Agency USA. And today we're going to go over the Best Agency Advantage. Basically, why should people work with Best Agency and some of the resources that we have available that you may or may not have known about. So Best Agency has been around for over 3 decades, long-standing traditional BGA, so brokerage general agency, right? We work with agents and advisors located all across the country and help them place their life, annuity, LTC, DI cases, almost every line of business. Today, we're going to focus on some of the life features that are really important for you to know about and that we utilize on a regular basis, especially for those complex cases. So one of the things we like to say is we do the hard work today so our advisors, you folks on the call, can have a successful sale tomorrow. So this is kind of how the independent broker ecosystem looks and operates, right? There's competitive products, aggressive impaired risk underwriting, technology, personalized sales support, strong management, enhanced compensation structure, right? These are the backbone of the things that Best Agency provides to you to ensure that you and your client get the best service, the best product, the best risk classes and offers available from our insurance companies. So one of the things that you may not know is we do have an in-house underwriter. Her name is Heather Sprague. She's our in-house underwriting consultant. She has over 30 years of underwriting experience, and she does a phenomenal job with your hard cases, right? So a lot of times folks think that because someone is on certain medications or has a specific medical impairment, that they're definitely going to be declined or not going to be able to get underwritten for life coverage. That's just simply not true. Heather is someone that works with us to make sure that we can identify the issues that your client may have, put them together in a way that makes sense and that looks more favorable for the client. And then she helps us work with the insurance company to ensure that we are fighting for your client to get the best offer possible, right? She becomes another advocate for us inside of the folks that you deal with and talk to on a regular basis. We can get Heather on the phone when need be if the case is really complex, but for the most part, usually we have enough detail from you folks to be able to utilize Heather and really help position the case as the best way possible. In addition to Heather, you may or may not know that we do actually have a medical doctor that we can send cases to and really get another set of eyes to help us best position a case. Again, those more complex impairment folks are multiple medications, multiple impairments. We don't want to just take declines when it happens or bad table ratings, right? So we utilize all the resources available to us, including Dr. Frank, who reviews EKGs, really tries to find a way to salvage a case based off of medical records that we can get from folks to make sure, again, that we're positioning your clients in the best favorable light to make sure we can get them the best offer available. Okay, so one of the things that we talk about a lot is quick quoting a client. So a great example is I had someone call me just yesterday, and they had a client who had multiple impairments that they've had for multiple time, and they weren't sure if the client would even be able to get coverage at all. So one of the things we can do is we can take the I Got a Guy, right? And we have a platform called Quote Shop, which allows us to provide the information that we have. So it could just be age or date of birth, whatever the medical impairment is, or whatever the one piece of medical history is that we're questioning. And we can go and shop it to all of the insurance companies that we work with. And they can very quickly, within 24 to 48 hours, get back to us with what would be a potential offer. And if they're not able to underwrite the case, they'll tell us that too. So we're trying to be more efficient in the way that we work with you and not have to have so much back and forth with the client or get the client's hopes up before they're thinking, oh wait, you can get me coverage. Well, let's find out for sure before we go down the road too far about trying to have them do a medical review or the paramed, the lab work. Before going down that road, let's see if we can get the person coverage anyways. The platform is great from our standpoint. It allows us to have all of the offers organized from all of the carriers that we submit it to. So we can submit it to 20 plus, or we can submit it to a handful depending on what the impairment might be. So once we receive all that, it allows us to organize it for you to be able to say, hey, here are the carriers that would consider this case on a quick quote. Additionally, If you were able to have medical records, we can also do what's called an informal. We can package it all together, again, with a cover letter from either Heather or Amy Fazig in our office to make sure that we are positioning it correctly with the medical information. Say, hey, based off of this physician statement, what would be a potential offer from the carriers? And those take a little bit longer, sometimes 7 to 10 days to get those back. But again, everything is in one platform for us to keep it nice and organized. You don't have to worry about it because we're working on it behind the scenes. And then once we have all the responses, we're able to get that to you nice and neat and organized for you to be able to discuss it with your client. Additionally, one of the things that we don't talk about often, but I think it's important for everybody to know is with these more difficult and complex cases, we also have direct access to a reinsurance company. So RGA is one of the world's leading facultative reinsurers, right? So what does that mean? They actually reinsure the insurance company's business, right? So when we place a case with Banner or Protective or whoever it might be, they have agreements with different reinsurance companies like RGA, where they're able to cede part of the responsibility of the death benefit to that reinsurance company. So RGA is one of those companies. Well, RGA, we're part of a program where we can go directly to RGA from a $500,000 up to $10 million case up to age 80, and we can submit those cases for review, again, informally, right? So no actual application. We submit it to them informally, and they will review it and see how aggressive they can be on an underwriting standpoint. And again, so we can do that before we go to the insurance company, or we can do it after, but they'll review it and give us an offer. After that offer, they then work with 10 companies directly, and we'll show you those 10 companies in a second here. But this is showing you the two ways that we can submit it to RGA. So the first one is, like I just mentioned, directly to RGA. They provide us an underwriting assessment, and then we can then go to certain carriers to see if they want to try and beat that offer. And if they can't, they will just issue the policy based off of the RGA offer. And then when the policy is placed in force, they just cede the policy over to RGA. So the management of the actual funding, everything is still on the carrier paper, but the managing of the policy, once the insured passes away, the death benefit proceeds would come from the reinsurance company. The second portion is we can do the informal offer through Quote Shop, as we just mentioned, right? We would submit the medical records to the insurance companies directly. Once we receive those offers, we can then send it to RGA to see if there's a potential better offer available, and then come back to the insurance companies to say, hey, RGA was able to match or beat this. Can you match it, or can you just issue the policy based on your paper, based off of this offer from RGA? You can see here there are 11. I said 10. I apologize. There are 11 carrier partners that are part of the RGA platform. So once we receive the RGA offer, we can go to any one of these 11 companies and have them issue policies based off of the offer from RGA. The carrier face amount and age requirements are still needed. So if they require lab work for a 60-year-old applying for $5 million, then that is still required because that's a requirement from the insurance company. But the offer will be all set here from the RGA. And again, they would just issue the policy on their paper. They would handle all of the management of the policy other than the death benefit proceeds when it's time to pay those out. Okay, shifting gears here for some of the marketing and product and marketing availability that we have for you. Again, that we do behind the scenes to ensure that you're getting the best products and the best offers available. So once we've gone through that underwriting portion, before even again an application, we figured out what the client roughly is going to be approved at. We can then go and look to see for we have access to product benchmarking. So we can scour the entire marketplace for accumulation products, protection product, guaranteed marketplace, and see which carriers offer the best either accumulation values or may have the cheapest premium for the longest guaranteed duration, whether it's an IUL, a whole life, or guaranteed ULs. We have that benchmarking available. We then also have access to a platform where once we decide which carriers look like they're going to be the most competitive, we can actually illustrate all of them together at the same time allowing us again to be more efficient and not having to run individual illustrations one at a time for you. So you now know, hey, here are the three best that are going to be available for your client. This carrier illustration looks like it's performing the best based off of the client's needs and what they're trying to accomplish, what their goals are for the life insurance. So again, we have these tools and technology available to help us be more efficient and making sure that you're getting the best product and offer available for your client. Over on the right-hand side here, you see it talks about advanced sales support. So we also have access to non-carrier branded marketing materials. So as an example, if you're working with business owner clients and you need to talk to them about a buy-sell agreement, you can reach out to us and we can provide you with a presentation, a case study, one-page documents that explains what a buy-sell agreement is. It might even dive deeper into it to talk about the differences between buy-sell agreements. And it helps to talk about potential tax consequences, things of that nature. So a good leave behind for your clients, or if you're looking to get in with more business owners, it's a good prospecting tool as well, saying, hey, here's some information for you. Talk to me, feel free to reach out. Love to help you with your buy-sell agreement and fund it with life insurance. Additionally, we also have direct access to 2 advanced markets attorneys from Securian. They are both JDs, which means they're attorneys, as well as one of them has a CLU, a CHFC, very educated folks who have been in the industry for a long time, who work with cases like this on a regular basis. As an example, we had someone who was working with business owner clients, and they were actually trying to figure out some information on their own business, looking for ways to structure it, looking for ways to fund the buy-sell agreement with life insurance, just some ideas. And so we got on the phone with one of the advanced sales attorneys from Securian, and they were able to explain their scenario, and they were able to get options and things to think about from the advanced sales attorney. They do not offer tax or legal advice, so that disclaimer is here. We have to be careful to make sure that we tell you that. But they're a great resource to be able to talk through some options and be able to have you ask your clients the right questions when you meet with them. So again, able to set up those calls for you. If you have a case like that, we'd love to talk to you and see how we can best support you. And if it's needed, we will get one of the advanced sales attorneys on the phone as well. So this is again just showing that we offer life insurance, we offer long-term care, disability, and annuities. We do benchmarking across the board here to make sure again that we're offering you the best products available for you and your client. And again, this is kind of how the process would work for us, right? Especially on your complex cases, we're going to make sure that we package it together, really find out as much information as we can before we try and submit to an insurance company. If we have to do a quick quote or an informal, we will do that. And then we can also double check with RGA, make sure that you were having and highlighting, illustrating the best product available for you and your client, and then ultimately help you place that case efficiently and quickly. Here you can see some of our testimonials. We have some folks that we've worked with for in some capacity for up to almost 50 years, which is phenomenal. But you can see here some folks, the longevity that agents and advisors have continued to come back to Best Agency, and some of the things that they have said. I can tell you that I wasn't able to add it for this one, but the most recent testimonial, or at least feedback we got, was an email that came through. We had just placed a case for an advisor. He does not do a lot of life insurance business. It's not his primary. But his words were essentially, he referred to himself as a small agent. We don't think anybody is a small agent, but he said, for someone who doesn't do a lot of life insurance, you made me feel like $1 million producer. And those are the types of feedbacks and comments that we love to hear, because we do take every case seriously. We want you to have the best possible journey for your client. And so we will be sure to help you in every way that we can. And here, when you're ready to contact us, here's some contact information. Now, before we go, I'm going to pivot here to our website. I want to show you some of the resources available on our website as well, just real quick, before we address for any questions here. Bear with me one second. And while I'm doing this, if you do have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat feature. I'd be happy to answer those. All right, seeing none, we'll keep going. All right, so hopefully you can see here, this is the Best Agency website. When you log on, this will be the screen that you see first. You can see that we do specify and split the website up into life and annuity. And we're going to go ahead and click on the life portion here first. We're just going to show you a couple of the resources here that we have available for you. The first one is from the field underwriting standpoint. So let's just say that you are with a client, maybe you don't have an opportunity to give us a call, or you want to try and figure some information out yourself. We have an underwriting, what we call IntelliSheets. So when you click on this button here to IntelliSheets, you can see different topics that are available, whether it's operations, product design, underwriting, riders, and some annuities as well. Essentially what these are ways to compare carriers with information before we have to go to a carrier, right? So if you're looking, a great example that we, again, just had a few of these not that long ago, is let's just say your client says, hey, I smoke marijuana. Is that going to stop me from being able to get life insurance? Well, you would come here, you would click on marijuana under the underwriting section. You can see it's underwriting. And if you want to look at a couple of carriers specifically, you can select that, but we're going to leave those blank and just hit view selected carriers. As we scroll down, you'll see here all the carriers will be listed, as well as what their ratings are depending on how folks use it. So Banner is the first one alphabetically. It's not that we value Banner any more than any other carriers. It's just the first one that comes up alphabetically. And you can see here the difference between their recreational use. So 2 times per year can get Preferred Plus if they're very limited in the using of marijuana. As you scroll down here, you'll see other carriers, Cincinnati Life, Columbus, John Hancock, all the carriers that we do business with. They come in and provide us with this information to make sure that we're able to supply it for you. So you can also see here Nationwide as an example. The last time they updated the information was 1/27, which means they'll be coming around again. They are asked once a quarter to keep the information fresh. So they should be coming around again. You can see that as an example. North American was just in here yesterday, as was Pac Life, right? So we're trying to give you information as updated as possible. The insurance companies know that these are important for our folks. And so they make sure to dedicate someone to updating them and keeping the information as fresh as possible. Again, as I mentioned, you can do it for product design as well. If you're working on a 1035 with a loan carryover, you're looking for differences between LTC riders or chronic illness riders, that information is here as well for you to utilize. One of the other things that you can do on our website is you can run a life quote. So if you're looking for a quick term quote, as an example, you can click on run a life quote. And you can put the information here and apply directly from the website. So once you are granted access to our website, you have access to this platform. So let's just say here we're working on a good-looking 44-year-old male from Connecticut. No names, but his initials are Steve Santos. And let's just say he's going for a 15-year term for $250,000. And we'll just say I'm a preferred. We would get our quotes here, and you would see they would return all of the premiums. You can change this to be a monthly premium if you want to show for your clients. You can see here. So if you did this in front of your client, they would see all of the options here. And Banner obviously came up as being the cheapest. Right from here, you can click on the apply button. If the client is ready to go, you can click on the apply button and it'll open up a platform where you would just answer all the questions and the application would get submitted to us. It would get submitted to Banner and the process would start immediately. You can also, if you wanted to compare a couple of quotes and just wanted them to, maybe they have to think it over, you can compare and just, take the best 3 or pick 3 carriers that you like. You could obviously also ask us about turnaround times and SLAs and conversion products and stuff like that. We'd be more than happy to fill out that information, provide you with that information as well. But now you can see here, you're able to download a quote of just the 3 best if you wanted to do that. Also on our website, I'm going to go back here to where it says quote and apply. So we're going to switch to a different screen here. I also want you to see there's another way that you can see all of the ways that you can run quotes and submit business to us. So if you're looking for paper apps, there's paper application forms here, a repository that you can go through to try and find the application for the appropriate carrier. We could also find the best agency drop ticket is here as well for you to be able to fill out real quick information, send it to us, and we'd be happy to get the process started for you. All right, I'm going to pause there and see if there's any other questions. While we're waiting for that, I'm going to ask if Louis Arce, who is our president and owner of Best Agency, if he has any comments or questions that he wanted to bring up while I look for questions. Louis?
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining our quick masterclass, workshop, webinar, whatever you want to call it today. We appreciate you taking the time. But I do want to get back to a couple of things that Steve had mentioned earlier while he's looking for uh, questions here. Regarding Heather, our underwriting consultant, what I want you to really keep in mind where she's really key is after we get an approval and it's applied other than applied for, and you can't place that case, or it's declined, or it's highly table rated, we send that case to Heather to basically do an audit of the insurance company. So she can come back and say, and she has come back and say, this case should not be postponed. This case should not be at table 6. And she will go and advocate on your behalf and call back to the supervisor. I've seen her totally disregard the underwriter and say, I want to talk to the chief underwriter. This was not handled properly, and get cases approved and placed. So she is a really strong advocate. And this is something we've been able to do for the last year or so that we've been working with Heather and getting her to assist with placing some of these cases. And we're going to pivot over to Quote Shop. What's important about Quote Shop, now we can use Quote Shop before, during, or after a case is submitted. And what happens with Quote Shop is when we receive that tentative approval from the insurance company, most times, a high percentage amount of times, that tentative will be the final approval, unless something comes up that was not known and or discussed. For instance, your client smokes marijuana, we didn't know it, they didn't disclose it, and now that's new information. But if all the information is submitted and Quote Shop gives us a standard, now they do underwriting and they say table 2, we can go back to them and said, well, no, you already looked at this case. You gave us a standard. You have to hold to that standard. Okay. And we have had experiences where we've had to come back to the carrier and say, no, 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 you gave us this. You got to honor that approval. So these are some of the things that we've been able to partner up with the tools and the resources, whether it's RGA or Quote Shop or what have you, that allows our advisors to place more business. But that's all I had, for now, at least.
Thanks, Louis. One more thing that just popped up that someone told me to remind everybody. Let me go back to it. So when you're quoting here, back in this quoting tool here, one of the things that you can do if you're not sure if your client's going to be a standard plus or a preferred, but you have their height and weight, if you click on enter health profile, you can actually add their height and weight. So you can put, let's just say they're, I don't know, 5'11" and 225. They never used tobacco. You can leave that just as is and hit the quotes, and it'll provide you with what the best risk class available is from each of the carriers. So you can see here, all of a sudden now preferred from Pac Life becomes the cheapest here, and things like that. So you can see ultra preferred at Mass Mutual is available, but from a term perspective, not as competitive as Pac Life. So something else I wanted to share with everybody in case you did have some information about the client's current health benefits. So that was what we wanted to show you today. Again, a quick overview of some of the resources that make Best Agency, and how we continue to work with our agents across the country, how we're able to recruit agents. And we wanted to make sure that you were aware of these things that are happening and that are available to you that you may have not known before. I'll do one last call for questions. Feel free to unmute yourself if you have one. right. Well, I want to say thank you very much for those of you that I do work with on a regular basis. Thanks for taking the time to join this call. I enjoy talking to everybody when I do call you. Everyone's been great so far since I've joined Best Agency. So thank you for that. We look forward to continuing building our business with your business. And we hope that you would continue to use Best Agency and feel that Best Agency difference on your next case. So don't hesitate to give us a call, and we look forward to working with you soon. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thanks so much.